guys hear that? What do you mean behind me? Oh my...
Since the dawn of human civilization, the fear of the deep oceans has permeated our cultures and created myths of legendary proportions. Yet, one creature stands above the rest: Leviathan, the Megalodon. We as humans find sharks quite terrifying, so it's no surprise that a gigantic shark has developed a uniquely fearsome reputation.
But in 2013, the Megalodon's myth went a little too far. During Shark Week, Discovery Channel published a dramatized documentary titled Megalodon, the Monster Shark Lives. And in this movie, scientists hunted a massive megalodon named Submarine that was attacking boats off the coast of South Africa. At the very end of this clearly fiction work, there was a disclaimer reading, "None of the institutions or agencies that appear in the film are affiliated with it in any way nor have approved its contents. Though certain events and characters in this film have been dramatized, sightings of Submarine continue to this day. Megalodon was a real shark. Legends of giant sharks persist all over the world. There is still debate about what they may be." Of course, when they say dramatized, it means they use actors and that this was certainly fiction. Discovery claimed that sightings of the Megalodon continue to this day. But they weren't the only ones in mainstream media to play ball with this concept. In 2018, the film The Meg was shot featuring Jason Statham, Rainn Wilson, and Li Bingbing. Wait, did you say Rainn Wilson? Thought he'd be more into Bears, Beats, and Battlestar Galactica. Huh. The Meg was based on a 1997 novel of a megalodon that had survived undiscovered in the deep accesses of the ocean. Now, with so much public imagination on the line about a modern megalodon, this truly begs the question, could a Meg still exist in the ocean today? And the short answer is no. Alright guys, it was great talking with you. Video over. We're done. Bye. No, just kidding. But this warrants further investigation. Human beings have never truly coexisted with the Megalodon in the same era of time. How in the world do we study such a creature we've never even met? Well, the same way that we study dinosaurs. By stalking them. On Fossilbook. Or Fossilgram. Through the old decaying bones of the creatures before us. But there was a time where fossils weren't quite common knowledge and weren't fully understood at all. Our story begins in the year 1666. Human beings all across the world had long observed certain sharp, stony objects in rock formations. Now, many across history tried in confusion to explain this strange phenomenon. Is it a rock? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's super! The ancients, like Roman historian Pliny the Elder, guessed that these stones must have fallen from the sky. Others believed that they were petrified dragon tongues, called glossopetra in Latin. Good guesses. An A for effort. You get an F, Pliny. Kinda ironic since this dude was pretty much the father of modern science. But one brave hero stepped forward. Danish naturalist Nicholas Steno realized that these petrified dragon tongues were in fact massive shark teeth. He therefore drew this image. But he kinda just stopped there. So 2 whole centuries passed before the world made any progress on our quest. In 1843, Louis Agassiz, a Swiss naturalist, finally made a fascinating discovery. Judging by the large teeth's proportional shape to the great whites, Agassiz guessed that the Megalodon must have looked just like a humongous great white shark. He therefore gave it the infamous species name that we know today, Megalodon, translating to big tooth from ancient Greek. Mega, mighty, Otis, tooth. You know, I actually knew a Otis in high school. Wonder if he was named after a tooth. Those teeth are really the key to discovering everything we know about this creature. Sharks lose an entire set of teeth every 1 to 2 weeks. The Megalodon was really no exception to this. Megalodon teeth have been discovered on every single continent except for Antarctica. Alright, so what would be the signs if a Megalodon were to still be around in our oceans today? Well, we have to go back to that time-old saying, you are what you eat. The main difference between something big like the whale shark today, the biggest fish alive, and the Megalodon is in their diet. The whale shark filter feeds krill, but the Megalodon was an active predator. This means it required huge amounts of prey to maintain its biomass. It's also a likely reason for why this species died out, as it became less and less efficient to capture prey in the global cooling that took place during the Pliocene era about 2.6 million years ago. This era was cooling as the Earth moved towards the Pleistocene era, or what we know today as the Ice Ages. This is the time when the Megalodon ceased to exist. So while there's a lot of speculation as to how and why the Meg went extinct, we do have some leads. As the temperature cooled in the Pliocene era, the drop in ocean temperatures wrecked the habitats of countless marine species and seabirds. And as those creatures went extinct, the effect was amplified, felt all the way up to the top of the food chain. And as a result, the Megalodon and other apex predators would struggle to find sufficient prey to fuel their voracious appetite and metabolism. Furthermore, the Megalodon's nesting sites have been historically identified as shallow subtropical climates. Ocean mammals, especially whales, began to actually migrate to colder environments at the poles during this time. Obviously, subtropical climates also go out the window with the mass cooling of the Earth. Okay, so without these sites to protect their young, what happened? Megalodon pups were easy prey for smaller sharks and even toothed whales. Smaller sharks also swam faster and were more nimble, likely able to outcompete these larger predators for smaller prey. Not to mention that the ancestors to the great whites were significantly larger than Megalodon baby pups and could still hunt them for prey. All of these factors put together made surviving as a species kinda hard. Okay, so these were some of the historical factors that suggest a Megalodon extinction. But what says a couple of Megs couldn't have survived, mated, and have been biding their time for millions of years in the depths of the sea, scheming for the perfect time to retake the Republic and overthrow the Jedi? A little bit too much fiction there. Discovery? Well, simply a Megalodon is an active predator. If an animal as big as the Meg still lived in our oceans, we would know about it. I mean, these sharks would leave massive bite marks on other large ocean creatures and prey. Furthermore, because of their huge metabolic needs, Megs would litter the ocean floor in the tens of thousands of the skeletons of their prey. We can still see fossilized whale bones from the ancient past with massive Megalodon teeth marks on them. And we would certainly see those today if this monster was still alive. Not to mention that the Megalodon was actually a shallow warm water species and wouldn't be able to survive in the extremely cold waters of the deep ocean. We would have had some sort of run-in with such a shallow water species, and our sonar or active acoustics that we use to locate large groups of fish and whale migrations could also likely detect such a large creature as well. But Paul, couldn't the Megalodon adapt to living in cold, deeper waters? Okay, so this is not impossible, but it's also extremely improbable. To be so deep to avoid running into humans, that could vary, but we could be talking about 12,000, 10,000 meters towards the bottom of the ocean at the Mariana Trench. There aren't too many large creatures for such a massive active predator to eat. I guess maybe colossal squid from time to time. We must remember that its primary diet was marine mammals back in the day. Whales, seals, dolphins. These all spend a great deal of time at the surface or at least in the open ocean. And for the Megalodon to exist in the deep requires multiple miracles. They changed their breeding habits. They've been quietly breeding down there for 20 million years. They no longer hunt the same prey. They probably lost their vision to adapt to deep sea lighting conditions. And they found some massive source of auxiliary prey. And still, they've somehow escaped our radar despite being larger than sperm whales and almost as massive as the greatest of whale sharks. Again, we've also seen no evidence whatsoever on any whales of massive bites from shark teeth. That would be a dead ringer. So it's extremely unlikely that Megalodon still exists in our oceans. In fact, there's not even much of a discussion among scientists as to whether this creature is still alive. Discovery's documentary swiftly raised alarm and outrage all across the marine biology community. In response to the controversy, the Discovery executive producer of Shark Week tweeted, "With the whole week of Shark Week programming ahead of us, we wanted to explore the possibilities of Megalodon. It's one of the most debated shark discussions of all time. Can Megalodon exist today? It's ultimate Shark Week fantasy! The stories have been out there for years, and with 95% of the ocean unexplored, who really knows?" Kind of went into a British accent briefly there. Who really knows? One of the most debated shark discussions of all time. That's kind of stretching it, man. David Schiffman, marine conservation biologist at ASU, tweeted, "Basic factual errors in these documentaries would bother me less if it took more than 3.5 seconds to look up the real fact."
What? Grenade?
Others followed suit. Dosi Kaichev, an assistant professor at the Nova Southeastern University Oceanographic Center, as well as an activist for reducing shark bycatch in fisheries, that's quite the mouthful, had this to say. "There is no discussion among fishery professionals whether Megalodon is extinct," he said. "If even one credible scientist had doubts about this, the Discovery Channel wouldn't have had to use actors." Yikes. As a researcher focused on mako sharks, I often discuss Megalodon with my colleagues. So he's a professional, and alright, so we're getting all these perspectives, but why do scientists have to worry? Well, scientists actually have a right to worry about misinformation. Discovery's first poll for their audiences in 2013 showed that after watching this documentary, over 70% of people polled were fully convinced that Megalodon still lives in our ocean today. To be fair, I'm not really bashing on Discovery Channel. Well, I am, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Ratings are important to keep public interest high and money coming in to fund conservation programs, keeping people's jobs. I get it. But in the nature of scientific accuracy and integrity, such comments dramatizing these things misguide and misinform the public about the truth of our oceans. Not to mention that media changes people's perceptions of the truth and directly influences conservation outcomes. After Steven Spielberg's Jaws, shark populations in Florida actually dropped and plummeted severely as thousands of people began to fish trophy sharks. Stephen Lovegren, writing for National Geographic in 2005, actually stated that the perception that sharks were stalking, killing machines remains in the public psyche. In reality, shark attacks are, for the most part, rare. Such sentiments raised by sensationalized media cause overfishing and exploitation of sharks, destroying ecosystems and promoting illegal, internationally sanctioned markets. So yes, it's 7 years later, and this was still a doozy. As John Oliver says, "You faked a 2-hour sharkgasm, Discovery." But enough about Discovery. Yes, the Megalodon is almost certainly extinct today, but the Meg is a fantastically interesting creature of legendary proportions, with a powerful presence in the minds of people all across the world. Perhaps next time we can talk more about its fascinating life, hunting strategies, and other interesting details that I couldn't touch on in this video. But today, our job is done. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. As always, check out our apparel lineup at Maredis.com to look good, contribute to the conservation of our oceans, and live sustainably, all at the same time. My name is Paul, and I'll catch you on the next episode of our Triple M series, Maredis Marine Myths. Remember, clean looks, clean vibes, clean oceans. I'll catch you next time.
Hello! How are you guys doing today? Wow! He's gonna be doing a video on me soon. I'll compete at the Meg.
It's getting late.